So in this tutorial, I'm going to talk about Git Hooks. So in Git website, there's a documentation about Git Hooks. Okay, you can go and read about it to have more understanding what is Git Hook is all about. So Git Hook can be separated into two types. One is a client-side hook, and the other one is a over here server-side hook. Okay, so the purpose of Git Hook is that it allows you to run some shell script before you perform some Git command or after you perform some Git command. For example, for client-side hook, it's actually a hook in our local. So when you come to this Git repository, right, in the .git folder, there's a subdirectory called hooks. So inside the hooks, there's a bunch of shell script which can be enabled. So notice that each of the shell script, they actually end with .sample. So when the shell script is ends with .sample, it means that the hook is actually not enabled. So if you want to enable the hook, so for example, if you want to enable the pre-push .sample hook, you can just remove the .sample, and then this will allow you to enable the pre-push hook. Okay, so what is the meaning of allowing a pre-push hook? So for example, when you perform a git push command, right, before this git push command is being executed, this shell script pre-push, it will be run first to determine whether your git push command is allowed. So for example, you want the git push to be aborted if the commit message contains some string. You can specify in the pre-push shell script which allows git push to be aborted when there's some string inside the commit message. So this is the purpose of the client-side hook, which allows some shell script to be run before the actual git command is being executed. Okay, so this is client-side hook. And another example is that, let's say a pre-commit sample. If you want to enable this pre-commit shell script, you can just remove this sample. So this allows you to enable the pre-commit hook. So it means that when you try to type a git commit command, before the git commit command is actually being executed, this pre-commit shell script will be run first. Okay, so this is what client-side hook is all about. It allows some shell script to be run before git command is actually being executed. Okay, so the next thing is the server-side hook. So the server-side hook is that, for example, when client pushes some commit into the server side, so let's say GitHub, so this script, it can be run before or after something is being pushed to the server. So for example, when you push something to the server, you can run something called pre-receive. It's actually used to handle the push from the client. So for example, when you push something to the server, this pre-receive shell script will be run, and it will determine whether to accept your push to the server. So it depends on what is specified in the pre-receive shell script, it can reject the commit that is pushed by the client. Okay? And the other one is the update. So what this update script does is that, for example, if you try to push to a multiple branch, if you enable this pre-receive hook, it will only be run once. But if you enable this update hook, what this update hook does is that if you run once per branch, so as what they say, so for example, if you have multiple branch, this update script will be run when you try to push to master branch, and when you try to push to another branch, this update script will be run again. Okay, so the next one is the post receive hook. So if you enable this post receive hook, what it does is that once the push is completed, and you can actually specify in the shell script to send an email, or you can actually update a ticket tracking system, for example Jira, depends on what is in the commit message, and update the ticket tracking system accordingly. So this is what you can do with pre-receive, update, and post-receive hooks in a server side. Okay, so in the next video, I will be discussing more about client-side hook. Before we actually executing git command, we will actually enable some hook, some shell script to run first to determine whether the git command can be executed or not. Okay, so this is what Git Hook is all about. Thank you so much for watching.